Christ. That. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. Today, as I told you at the beginning of the Mass, there is a contrast between last Sunday and this Sunday. Last Sunday, we celebrate Jesus at his temptations. Today, we see Jesus at his glory. If you look at the first reading today, we see what God asked of Abraham was something that is beyond the human reason. He said to him, leave your homeland, go to the land I will point out to you, and there I will make you a leader of a great community. Take your wife with you and all your belongings. So Abraham left Canaan and went to Ur. He was already 75 years old then, and Abraham, without no question, he obeyed God. The years went by. They are advancing in age together with his wife. His wife cannot have no children. She was sterile. And God still hold a promise. His wife, being impatient, said to him, you can have a child with your slave, because after all, to whom all this inheritance of yours will go? And Abraham did. But God said, not this way. Finally, at a very old age, Abraham, together with his wife Sarah, conceived a child. The child was born and was named Isaac. The boy was about 10 years of age, and God said to him, take your boy, go on Mount Moriah, take some wood with you and fire, and offer him an holocaust to me. Kill him and burn him. How many of you will do that? Kill your own son, burn your own son, because God is telling you so. And Abraham looked at the child, built an altar, put the wood, tied the boy, put him on the wood, is about to give him the blow of death with the knife, and God said to him, enough. I saw that you are faithful to me. I will bless you in a great generation. You are the one who come up. In the gospel, we have another gift. The Father gave us his only Son. God so loved the world that he gave us his only Son. And whoever believes in him will be saved. He gave us the greatest treasure he ever had, his own Son. And what and why? To offer him as a holocaust on the cross for our salvation. Second reading today, St. Paul reminds us of that when he said, God, not even his Son, he let go, but he subjected him to death, to the death of the cross. And that's why nobody can accuse us. Who is going to accuse us or condemn us? The Father, when he sent his Son? Who is going to accuse us? His Son, who died for us? And that's why today I'd like you to really reflect on how the readings apply to you and to me. Abraham gave his best to God. He gave us the son of the promise, the son on whom God made a promise that he will give him a great generation. And God is testing him at the point of the highest of the promise, when God gave him that promise, on the very highest of the promise, he tries to destroy the Son. And what Abraham did, he obeyed. And so Jesus, he obeyed. St. Paul said to us in the Philippians, he was so obedient to the Father, not only to come in the flesh, to lower himself, to become a slave, but even to die on the cross. You and I, God is asking us for the best. And the best is not because you go to Sunday Mass. Because Sunday Mass is for you, not for God. You are benefiting from Sunday Mass. Don't tell me you say the rosary because you benefit from that. Don't tell me you go to the novena or you do this for it. No, those are benefits for you. What you do for your church. Remember what Kennedy once said, don't expect what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Did you ever think for one moment what I am doing for my church, what Carmel is doing for the Church of God? I mean, you are free, you're supposed to do that. Let me remind you, I have a choice too, like you have. What are you doing for your church? To build up the church, to build the community, to continue the evangelization that Jesus himself was gifted by the Father to come to this world, and the Father said, listen to him. What are you doing to build the God church? What are you doing to continue to evangelize that message to the people who live around you, who live in your midst, who live in your family, who live at the place of recreation or work? What are you giving to God? You are giving to God the hour and not a week because you are afraid of making sin? What are you giving to God? And many of you say, Father, I work 6 days a week. What else do you want me to do? I have a family of 5. What else do you want me to do? Oh, dear Lord. I'll tell you what to do. Do you have time to go to the barber? Do you have time to go to the doctors? Do you have time to go to the gym? Do you have time to go and eat? Do you have time to go and sleep? Do you have time to do all kinds of things? Yes. And that means you have to make time for God. My dear people, don't think that the church of today is here because of combination. There were your fathers, your forefathers, your people who really built not only these churches but community. They were of one heart and mind. They were so strong together that they do together because they felt the need that they will come together because they need the support of each other. As we say in our nation, together we stand. They stand shoulder by shoulder. And I ask you to think seriously about this. And don't tell me I am a student. And don't tell me I am this. And don't tell me I am this. What are you doing for your church? And don't tell me I am in the Knights of Columbus or I am in the Legion of Mary or I am, in the parish council. Because those are not for God. What are you doing to build the church of God? What kind of evangelization are you doing? There are people who sleep in your own home who does not even know that God exists. What are you doing about that? There are people who work with that you shoulder to shoulder with them every morning and you never even mention God because you were afraid to give friendship. You were not afraid. Look what happened to him because you were not afraid. And he said to you and to me, if you want to follow me, there is one way, there is the way of the cross. And what is a cross? I want to go my way and God come. Boom. That is the cross. Because the way of Jesus is the way of the cross. You need to die first in order to rise. There is no resurrection unless you die. And that's exactly what Jesus is saying to us during the Lenten season. We just finished a week of remission. Many of you have attended. Many have ignored. How can you grow without the Word of God? Man does not by word alone, but by every word that comes from God. And what is the word of God? Jesus Christ. And the word became flesh and dwelt among us. That's why the Father today was so pleased and say, this is my Son, my beloved one. Listen to him. And the message of Jesus is the message of the gospel. And the message of the gospel is the preaching of the church today and tomorrow and yesterday. And if people say, Father, when I pray, when I go to Mass, I'm so disoriented. I don't even know that I have prayed or I have been to church because I have so much thoughts come to me. What is the time? That your mind is so preoccupied with things of this world that you don't have time for God to set aside. When you enter those doors, it's like nobody exists. Not your mother, not your father, not your son, not your husband. Nobody exists. Many of you will say, yes, I wish my husband would exist. But your thing is this. When you enter those doors, you enter to be with God. And that is the idea to keep quiet in church when you come and collect yourself. Because if you are talking and doing this and that, you cannot think of what you're doing. That's why I don't want people in the sacristy as much as I can. Because you need to concentrate to what you are going to do. And what are we going to do? We are going to enter into a dialogue with God. A dialogue with God. Yeah. God speaks to us. And you respond. That's why we call it responsory response. Responsory response is not responsory to play with the game and to look at each other and look at the watch. To say to God, I have listened to you now. And they say, yes, I will live in the land of the living if I do what you shall say, if I be obedient like Abraham. And then again, we listen to the early church, where the early Christian used to get that strength at the feet of the teaching of the apostles. That's what built the church there, people. The preaching of the apostles. The tradition of the church that passed from one generation to another. And then all of us who stand up as we welcome Christ to speak to us, Ipsistus verbus Christi, the very word of Christ. And you mark yourself with your marks on your forehead, lips and so. That means now the word of God is going to be in your heart. It's going to be on your mind. It's going to be the one that you speak about. That's what it is, those signs of the cross. It's not just a sign, like a habit that we do. It goes back to the original ones of the Jewish people, that they always have in their philosophy, they have the 10 Commandments, to think about them, to keep them always in their heart, and to speak about them. And the times, when we see and hear these things, say, where they come from? They are nothing but Jewish sexual traditions. And then we hear the explanation of the Scriptures. So God speaks to us, and then we speak to Him in our prayer of faith. Of course, then enter into the most sacred of all, when we participate in the offering of the victim, which is the gift of each one of you. That's why the collection is taken, not to make you happy, it's because that collection is going to go from you to you. Like Mother Angelica, the station is by you to you. But it's the truth. The collection is from you to you. You give it to us, and we administrate it to make sure that you are taken care of. Those who are being educated, those who are being instructed, those who are poor, those who are, and those of the maintenance of the living. So it's coming from you to you. And then, of course, we offer your best, yourself, on that same pattern. That's the idea that when the ushers come and select you to be the one to bring the gift, don't say, oh, not me. That means you don't want to be part of the sacrifice. You have been selected on behalf of all these people gathering together to be the one selected to bring the gift up to the altar, because it comes from you and will be given to you you again in return. That's what Jesus does. He takes what is ours and gives us what is ours again in return in the families. And then, of course, we come to the most important part of the Mass, when we assist at the crucifixion of our Lord, when Jesus dies on the cross. At the word of the consecration, Jesus actually spiritually dies. And that's why the priests take the bread and say, this is my body, and take the cup and say, this is my blood. At that very moment, in the separation of the blood and body, Jesus spiritually died again. That's a Calvary again. And then the priests unite again the body and blood together to be given to us not as a corpse, but as a living Jesus, as a resurrected Jesus. You see what we do during the Mass here, people? We have that dialogue, that interrelationship. And then the Lord is asking you for your response. And that is not just go to Mass, but to live that Mass. And to live that Mass is not something that you do because you have to. You do it because you love. So you see, this is the challenge I challenge you during the season of Lent. What are you doing to build your community here at St. Rita? What time are you giving to the church? What talent that you have that you share with your church? And don't tell me I have no time, because you know what that means? You don't care. When you say I don't have time, means you don't care. Because if you are called by your doctor after you go for a test, you cannot wait till morning comes to go to see what he has to say, because you care about his physical. And you take all precautions and take all the orders and follow all kinds of medication that he prescribed for you, just to save this body to continue to live. What are you doing for yourself? Today, God said to us, in the words of the Father, this is my Son. Listen to him. Do I listen to Jesus? How do you speak to me in today's world? In those that he has selected to continue his ministry. He speaks to me in the Scriptures. He speaks to me in the people I am living with, in the community. He's speaking to me by the cosmos that I live in. He speaks to me in an actual and a very concrete way. What is your response to that? He is asking me not to get from 1/3, half, or 3/4, but all. Love me with all your heart. Love me with all your strength. Love me with everything that you have. It does not want any compromise. In fact, the first commandment says, I am your God. You shall not have known God before me. And God meant it. Look at Abraham. Look at God the Father. And now the question is, what about you and me? Don't think that I pose this question to you when I stay, as we say, aloof from you. There was a time in my life that I don't want to give God all that he wants from me. I fought for 4 years to go in the seminary because I did not want to. Today, the anniversary of the priest who died in front of me 34 years ago. He said to me, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do for your church? This question was given to me a long time ago. I was not raised in a community to do whatever you want and what you please, and come to church when you please, and give to God what you want. Because you will be told off. But beside the point, begin the seminary at the 19 years of age, they put in front of my face a contract, signed that you go to Camden. I don't know whether even Camden exists or America exists at the time. Later on, I used to meet Bishop Kauke, who really was living with us in the seminary, and she said, "You are going to Camden, don't you?" And he begins smiling. He said, "No, what Camden is the city of murderer and thieves." I said, "Thank you very much." Then I approached ordination. I want to come to this country. I came here for a few months, and then I went back to return to be ordained a deacon, and then also as a priest. In 6 months I was ordained priest after the academy. And then they sent me here to college. I did not know how to speak English. Still I am not. I used to go, thank God for the sisters. They used to be calling to Sister Marita and Sister Mandelors. They were there. They were great people. And also some of the other nuns. And they used to say, "Now, this is the way you pronounce this word," because they used to be hearing me, reading, and so forth. So, if I make a mistake in the pronunciation of the word, don't blame me, blame the nuns. I had no vehicle. I had a little bicycle. The first time that I saw a black person, I ran for my life. They stole my bicycle when I was giving communion one time, and I was more terrified that they take the bicycle than I was going to find afterwards. I used to walk to the hospital, to Lourdes, and even to Virgil. Walk to see the saint. I used to go in the Sedan every day to give communion to those shut-in there. I used to sweat blood at the pulpit because I don't know how to put the sentences together. I don't know the culture of this nation. I have no one here, relative. I have no one to talk to him in my own language. I did not have a spiritual director that I can talk to. All these things were really part of, I would say, anxiety. And then, of course, when I came to vote for me when I was about to be ordained priest, the priest that I was stationed with said to the bishop, "Well, his body is here, but his heart is immortal." What do you expect? 56 years I was there. You think I am going to be heart and soul here? What do you expect? You have been only human for a change. My dear people, in 31 years, I saw the church of this nation really declining. Today our young people, they don't want to know nothing about God. And we already have gone to shoot them because it's their fault. You know whose fault it is? We, the priest and parents. On Thursday night when I am coming home from my day off, I always come from the recreation center. You remember Thursday how horrible it was the night? It was raining and everything. You know that there were children practicing down in the field? Imagine if I told the parents I have a procession and I need your son for the procession, they will shoot me. But it's all right for bouncing a ball or whatever they were doing. But you see what kind of a church we are in today. We are in the church what our bishop called us so very well, the Wawa church. Give me, give me, give me. I go to church because I want to baptize my baby. I want to give communion to my son. I want to confirm my son. Make sure you marry my daughter. Make sure you marry my father. That's all. And then, you don't see that anymore. And that responsibility of those people who always want, fall on you who are carrying the load of those who do not care. But they are so ready to blame bishop and priest and everyone for closing their churches. Who is closing their churches? You. That's why today I challenge you. And look into yourself and say, what I can do for my church. And I don't want to hear that you are retired and you are 70 years of age. We have so many things going in our parish. You cannot stand for envelope, bulletin. You cannot make phone calls to the streets with champagnes. You cannot, call somebody who just lost their loved ones and talk to them like we as a community cares. You cannot write a thank you note or a what is called an anniversary, card to somebody who lost their loved one. Everyone is busy. If I question you how much television you watch, there is average of an hour and a half each one of television. Waste. Television for me is I love you to sleep. Open the tube, and here I go. My dear people, if we are going to take the church of tomorrow with this attitude, don't be afraid of what's going to be tomorrow. Because, as we say, it's in the horizon. Each one of us have been called by baptism to go out and be ambassador for Christ. Think about it. Maybe you have somebody at work who is really away from God. Say one or to her. Or he will turn off. Let it turn off. But just say, take some holy cards, slip them under somebody's bed or somebody, whatever, at that time. Just make a phone. Just apply yourself to the needs when we have needs in the parish. We just make, and we gave you a paper, what interest you have in the parish. Some of you have responded to even to when we have the festivals of ministry, which is nice. But each one of us has to be involved. Because each one of us is responsible for tomorrow. This is what Jesus had been told by the Father. This is my son, listen to him. Abraham gave his all, his son. God the Father gave his all, his son. You and I, we are asked to give our all. And that is what I ask you to do during this Lenten season. So as you die to that ego and die to the selfishness, rise with Jesus on the day of the resurrection to a life that is pleasing to him. Then the Father will say, these are my beloved sons and daughters. That's why they have listened to my Son. And now I